My sister told me I wasn't part of the family and my parents agreed. So I left, changed my number, and cut them out of my life. Have you ever felt like you're constantly running on fumes, giving your all, only to be invisible to the people who should see you most? What if the family who always took you for granted suddenly needed you, desperately, in a crisis, and you just decided to ghost them? Because that's my story. I was the family's unofficial butler for years, watching my sister be the golden child, until I finally broke free. And when their world came crashing down, my phone blew up, but I just watched it burn. I'm 28 now, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the unofficial family butler. You know, the one who fixes everything, runs every errand, solves every problem, but gets absolutely no credit? Yeah, that was me. My sister, Olivia, she's 32, and she's been the golden child since the day she was born. I'm not even being dramatic here. My parents have photos of her framed in every single room of the house. Me? I think there's one picture of me from high school graduation shoved in a drawer somewhere. Maybe. Growing up, the difference in treatment was so obvious, so stark, that even the neighbors noticed. Olivia got piano lessons, dance classes, summer camps, and a brand new car when she turned 16. Me? I got hand-me-down clothes from our cousin, and a lecture about responsibility when I asked if I could do soccer. Apparently, activities cost money, and money was tight. Except money was only tight when it came to me. When Olivia went to college, my parents paid for everything: tuition, room and board, spending money, spring break trips, the works. She graduated with a communications degree and zero debt. I went to community college and worked full-time at a warehouse to pay for it myself. It took me 6 years to finish my accounting degree because I could only take 2 classes per semester while working 50-hour weeks. My reward for graduating? A text that said, "Proud of you, champ," with a thumbs up emoji. No party, no gift, just an emoji. But hey, at least I learned self-reliance, right? The real kicker is that Olivia never actually did anything with her degree. She worked random admin jobs for a few years, then met her husband, Brad, at some networking event. Brad's family has money. Like, serious money. His dad owns a chain of car dealerships across 3 states. So, Olivia became a stay-at-home wife with a housekeeper and a personal trainer. She doesn't work, but somehow always has opinions about everyone else's work ethic. It's a special kind of irony. My parents treat Brad like the son they always wanted, which is hilarious because I'm literally their son. But sure, Brad's the favorite. He plays golf with my dad every Sunday, and my mom constantly shares his Facebook posts about entrepreneurship and success mindsets. The guy inherited a business and acts like he's Warren Buffett. Meanwhile, I work as a financial analyst at a mid-size firm. Good job, decent pay, nothing flashy, but stable and respectable. My parents have never once asked me about my work, not even the basic "how's the job going" conversation. But they can tell you Brad's golf handicap and his thoughts on the current market trends. About 3 years ago, my parents bought Olivia and Brad a house as a wedding present. A whole, actual house. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, in a nice suburban neighborhood with good schools for the kids. Market value around $450,000. My dad said it was an investment in their future. When I asked if they'd help me with a down payment on a condo, my dad literally laughed and said I needed to learn to manage my money better. This is the same man who just dropped $500,000 on his daughter's house. The math wasn't matching. So yeah, I stopped asking for anything a long time ago. I handled my own life, got my own apartment, furnished it myself, built my career, did the adult thing without any help. I wasn't bitter about it. Okay, maybe I was a little bitter, but I just accepted that this was how things were in our family. I was the backup child. The spare. The one who existed in case Olivia needed something. And oh boy, did Olivia need things constantly. Her car breaks down? Call me. Her internet isn't working? Call me. She needs furniture moved? Call me. Brad's out of town and she's scared of a weird noise in the house? Call me at 11 p.m. I'm the on-call handyman, IT support, and emotional support animal all rolled into one convenient brother-shaped package. The messed up part is I usually showed up. Not because I enjoyed being used, but because I kept thinking maybe this time they'd appreciate it. Maybe this time they'd actually say thank you and mean it. Maybe this time I'd feel like I was actually part of the family instead of the hired help. Spoiler alert, that never happened. Every favor I did was either treated like it was expected or like I'd barely done anything at all. I spent 6 hours helping them move into their new house, carrying boxes in August heat. And my dad handed me a $20 bill at the end and said, "Good hustle today," like I was part of the moving crew they'd hired. Olivia didn't even say thanks. She was too busy directing Brad on where to hang their wedding photos. Last year, my car died. Not broke down, not needed repairs, fully died. Engine seized up, transmission shot, the whole thing was beyond repair. The mechanic took one look and basically said I should donate it for scrap. I needed a car for work since I have to drive to client meetings, and I didn't have enough saved for a decent down payment after helping my parents pay for their new roof a few months earlier. Yeah, you read that right. I helped pay for their roof because they didn't have the liquid cash available and it was an emergency. I gave them $3,000 from my savings. Still haven't been paid back, but who's counting? So, when my car died, I asked my parents if they could help me with a loan. Not a gift, a loan. I offered to pay them back with interest. My dad said they couldn't help because they were financially stretched after buying Olivia's house and helping Brad's dad with some business expansion. The same dad who drops $200 on golf games every weekend somehow couldn't help his son buy reliable transportation for work. I ended up taking out a high-interest loan from a credit union and buying a used sedan that was decent enough. It wasn't fun making those payments, but I handled it because that's what I do. I handle things. The family dinners were always the worst. My parents insisted on Sunday dinners at their place every week. It was supposedly about family bonding, but really it was just an opportunity for everyone to talk about how amazing Olivia and Brad's life was while I sat there like a potted plant. They'd go on and on about Brad's latest business deal, or Olivia's new Pilates studio membership, or their upcoming trip to Cabo. Meanwhile, if I tried to mention anything about my life, the conversation would last about 30 seconds before someone redirected it back to the golden couple. I mentioned I got a promotion to senior analyst last year. A pretty big deal with a significant raise. My mom said, "That's nice, dear." And then immediately asked Olivia about her plans for redecorating their living room. I could have announced I was moving to Mars and gotten the same level of interest. But I kept showing up to these dinners because I'm apparently a glutton for punishment. Or maybe I just kept hoping something would change, that they'd wake up one day and realize they had 2 kids, not just one. Around 6 months ago, things started getting worse. Olivia got pregnant, finally, after years of trying. And suddenly, she became even more untouchable than before. Every conversation was about the baby, her pregnancy symptoms, the nursery design, baby names, strollers, cribs. Don't get me wrong, I was happy for her. Being an uncle seemed cool. But the obsession level was intense. My mom basically moved into Olivia's house to help her. She'd go over there every single day, meal prep for her, clean, do laundry, whatever Olivia needed. My dad would drop everything to run errands for them. I'm talking like Olivia would text my dad asking for a specific type of pickle from a store 40 minutes away, and he'd drop what he was doing and go get it. Meanwhile, I threw my back out moving office furniture at work and couldn't walk without pain for a week. I called my mom to ask if she could grab me some groceries since I literally couldn't drive. She said she was busy helping Olivia organize the nursery and suggested I use Instacart. Cool. Got it. Message received loud and clear. The pregnancy made Olivia even more demanding than usual. She'd call me for random stuff constantly, come fix her garbage disposal. Come hang curtain rods. Come move bags of mulch for her garden because Brad was at a golf tournament and she needed it done right now. The word pregnant became her magic card to play whenever she wanted something done immediately. And I did it all. Every single time. Like an absolute chump. 3 months ago, my parents announced they were paying for a family vacation to Florida. They'd rented a huge beach house in Destin for a full week. It was meant to be a baby moon for Olivia before the baby came. The whole family was going, my parents, Olivia, Brad, Brad's parents, even Brad's sister and her family. When they told me about it at Sunday dinner, I assumed I was invited. I mean, they said family vacation, and I'm technically family, right? Wrong. My mom was going through the details of who was sleeping where, and I realized she never mentioned a room for me. So, I asked, trying to keep it casual, which room am I in? The table went quiet. Like, dead silent. Everyone just kind of looked at each other with these awkward expressions. Finally, my dad cleared his throat and said, "Well, sport, this is really more of a trip for Olivia's immediate family circle. The beach house only has so many rooms, and with Brad's family coming, it's already pretty tight on space." I just sat there processing that they were calling it a family vacation, but I wasn't included in the family. Brad's sister's kids were invited, but not me. Brad's parents, who I barely knew, were coming, but not their own son. Right, I said. Makes sense. My mom jumped in with that fake sympathetic voice she uses. You understand, honey? Olivia needs to be around her support system right now. And you're so busy with work anyway. We didn't think you'd even want to take the time off. They didn't ask if I wanted to take time off. They just decided for me that I wouldn't want to come. Or more accurately, they decided they didn't want me there. Olivia hadn't said anything during this whole exchange. She was just pushing pasta around her plate, not making eye contact. Brad was scrolling on his phone like this was the most boring conversation ever. Neither of them stood up for me or suggested maybe they could make room. Yeah, no problem, I said. I've got projects at work anyway. We finished dinner with everyone pretending that incredibly awkward conversation hadn't just happened. I helped clear the table like always, loaded the dishwasher like always, and drove home wondering why I kept putting myself through this. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part came 2 weeks later. It was another Sunday dinner, and they were going through final preparations for the Florida trip, which was happening the following week. My mom was making lists. My dad was talking about which restaurants they'd already made reservations at. And Olivia was complaining about whether the beach house had enough outlets for all her pregnancy stuff. I was sitting there quietly eating my pot roast, trying to tune it all out. Then Olivia turned to me and said, "Oh, by the way, we're going to need you to house sit while we're gone." Not asking. Telling. You want me to house sit your place? I asked. Both places, she said, like it was obvious. Mom and Dad's house and ours. We need someone to water plants. Get the mail. Make sure nothing looks vacant. You know, basic stuff. Can't you hire a house sitter? I asked. Olivia rolled her eyes. Why would we pay someone when you're going to be here anyway? Plus, we trust you. It's family helping family. There it was. Family helping family. The phrase that had been weaponized against me my entire life. They weren't family when it came to including me in their vacation, but suddenly we're family when they needed free labor. Something in me just snapped. No, I said. Everyone stopped eating and looked at me. What do you mean, no? Olivia asked, like I'd just spoken in a foreign language. I mean, no. I'm not house-sitting for you. My dad set down his fork. Son, your sister needs help. She's pregnant. This is important. Then hire a house-sitter, I repeated. I'm sure there are plenty of services that do this professionally. Olivia's face turned red. Brad looked up from his phone. Dude, what's your problem? It's just checking on some houses. My problem, I said, still calm, is that I'm good enough to be family when you need something from me. But I'm not good enough to be family when you're planning vacations. Can't have it both ways. My mom gasped like I'd said something horrible. That's not fair. You know the situation with the beach house. There just wasn't enough room, right? Not enough room for me, but enough room for Brad's sister's kids, who Olivia barely talks to. Got it? Olivia stood up, her chair scraping loudly. Are you really going to make my pregnancy about you? Are you that selfish? I'm the selfish one? I asked. That's interesting. You know what your problem is? Olivia said, her voice getting louder. You're jealous. You've always been jealous of me, of my life, my marriage, everything. You can't stand that I'm happy. I'm not jealous of you, I said quietly. I'm just tired of being treated like the help. The help? Are you kidding me right now? We include you in everything. You include me when it's convenient for you. When you need something fixed or moved or done. But when it comes to actually being part of this family, I'm just an afterthought. My dad slammed his hand on the table. That's enough. You're being disrespectful. I'm being disrespectful? I've spent my entire adult life showing up for all of you. I helped pay for your roof. I help Olivia with everything she asks for. I come to these dinners every week, even though nobody actually cares about anything I have to say. And now I'm not even worth a spot on a family vacation. It wasn't personal, my mom said weakly. It's always personal, Mom. Everything you do is personal. You just don't want to admit it. Olivia crossed her arms. If you're so miserable being part of this family, maybe you should just leave then. The table went silent again. Even Brad looked up from his phone at that one. What did you just say? I asked. You heard me, Olivia said. If being around us is such a burden, if you think we treat you so terribly, then maybe you just don't belong here. Maybe you don't belong in this family at all. I looked at my parents, waiting for them to shut that down, waiting for them to tell Olivia she'd crossed a line, waiting for literally any sign that they disagreed with what she just said. My dad just looked uncomfortable and found his pot roast very interesting. My mom stared at her plate. Neither of them said anything. So that's it? I asked. You guys agree with her? My dad finally looked at me. Nobody's saying you don't belong, son. But you need to understand that Olivia is going through a lot right now. And maybe you could be more supportive instead of making everything difficult. There it was. Even when Olivia basically told me to get lost, it was somehow my fault for not being supportive enough. Understood, I said, standing up. Thanks for clearing that up. I grabbed my keys and walked out. Nobody stopped me. Nobody called after me. I sat in my car in their driveway for a full 5 minutes. Part of me hoping someone would come out and apologize, or at least check if I was okay. Nobody came. I drove home and just sat there on my couch, staring at the wall, processing what had just happened. My sister had basically disowned me at dinner, and my parents had backed her up. After 28 years of being the family workhorse, I'd been told I didn't belong. You know what? Fine. They want me gone, I'll be gone. I spent the next week making plans. I'd been considering moving to a different part of town anyway, somewhere closer to work. I found a decent apartment in a quiet neighborhood about 45 minutes away. 2 bedrooms, nice view, friendly landlord. Signed the lease, paid the deposits, and scheduled the move. Then I went through my phone and blocked all their numbers, my parents, Olivia, Brad, even extended family who might try to play messenger. Blocked on phone, blocked on social media, blocked everywhere. I changed my number and didn't give it to anyone who might pass it along. The Sunday before their Florida trip, they probably expected me at dinner. I didn't show up. I was too busy packing boxes. By Tuesday, I'd moved everything to my new place. I left my old apartment spotless and dropped the keys at the rental office. I didn't send a goodbye text, didn't leave a note, didn't make any dramatic announcements. I just quietly removed myself from their lives, exactly like they'd wanted. They had told me I didn't belong, and I believed them. The beauty of it was that I'd timed everything perfectly. They left for Florida that Thursday. By the time they were landing in Destin, I was settling into my new place, changed phone number programmed into my phone, old life completely disconnected. I spent that week actually relaxing for the first time in years. No random calls from Olivia asking me to fix things. No Sunday dinner obligation. No guilt trips or passive-aggressive comments. Just peace and quiet. On Saturday, 5 days into their trip, I was at a coffee shop near my new place, reading a book and enjoying my morning, when someone tapped my shoulder. It was Jackson, my old neighbor from the apartment complex. Cool guy. We'd hang out sometimes and talk about sports. "Hey man, someone's been looking for you," he said. "Your sister came by the apartment yesterday. She seemed really upset. Kept knocking on your door for like 20 minutes. Huh? I said. Weird. Yeah, weird. She left a note on your door. Something about a family emergency and needing you to call her ASAP. I figured you'd want to know." "Appreciate it," I said. "But I'm good." Jackson gave me a curious look, but didn't push it. We chatted for a few more minutes about how I'd moved. Then he headed out. A family emergency. How convenient. I wondered what they could possibly need that classified as an emergency. Later that night, I was curious enough to check my old voicemail from before I changed numbers. I'd forwarded it to my email before disconnecting the line, and sure enough, there were messages. 15 missed calls from Olivia's number. 6 voicemails. I listened to the first one. "Hey, it's me. Listen, we have a situation down here and we really need your help. Can you call me back ASAP? It's important." The second one. "Okay, I don't know why you're not answering, but this is serious. We need you to do something for us. Call me back right now." The third one. Her voice getting more frantic. "Where are you? I've been calling for hours. Mom and Dad are freaking out. We need you to go to our house and take care of something. This is an emergency. Call me back." The fourth one. "I swear to God if you're ignoring us because you're still mad about dinner. This is really immature. We have a major problem and you're the only one who can help. Pick up your phone." The fifth one. "Fine. You know what? I get it. You're upset, but can you please just put that aside for 1 second and help us? Please. I'm asking nicely. Just call me back." The sixth one was Brad. "Hey, man. It's Brad. Look, I know things got heated at that dinner, but we really need you right now. Something happened with our house, and Olivia's losing her mind. Can you just call us back, please?" I sat there listening to these messages, feeling absolutely nothing. No guilt, no concern, no urge to call them back. Just a weird sense of calm. They needed me. Of course, they needed me because I was always there when they needed something, right? The reliable backup brother who drops everything to solve their problems. Except I wasn't their brother anymore. They'd made that clear. I didn't belong in their family, remember? I deleted the voicemails and went to bed. The next day, I decided to do something I'd never done before. I reached out to my cousin Trevor. He lives a few states away, but we'd always gotten along when we were kids. We'd just drifted apart over the years, probably because my family never prioritized those relationships. I called him up and we talked for 2 hours. I told him everything that had happened. He wasn't even surprised. "Dude, I've been watching them treat you poorly for years," Trevor said. "I stopped coming to family events because I couldn't stand seeing how they acted toward you. Your sister's always been a spoiled brat and your parents enabled it completely. Why didn't you say something?" I asked. would you have listened? You kept showing up, kept helping, kept hoping they'd change. Sometimes people need to figure this stuff out on their own. He was right. I wouldn't have listened. I would have made excuses for them because that's what I'd been doing my whole life. Trevor and I made plans to meet up in a few weeks. Turns out I have other family who actually cares. I'd just been too focused on winning approval from the people who'd never give it to me. Monday afternoon, a week after their trip started, I was at work in a meeting when I noticed someone kept trying to reach me on my work line. My assistant knocked on the conference room door and said I had an urgent call. It was my mom's voice. She'd somehow tracked down my office number. Honey, thank God. We've been trying to reach you for days. Why aren't you answering your phone? I changed my number, I said flatly. You what? Why would you do that? Seemed like the right move. What do you want, Mom? We need you to go to Olivia's house right now. There was a pipe burst in their basement while we've been gone, and there's water everywhere. The house is flooding. You need to go turn off the water main and call a plumber. That sounds like a problem, I said. Yes, it's a huge problem. That's why we need you to go handle it right now. Have you tried calling a plumber directly or maybe a property management service? I'm sure there are 24-hour emergency services for this kind of thing. What? Why would we call strangers when you can just go handle it? You know the house. You know where everything is. Actually, Mom, I can't help you with this. Silence on the other end. What do you mean, you can't help us? I mean, I can't. I'm at work. I live 45 minutes away now. And honestly, it's not my problem. Not your problem? This is your sister's house. She's pregnant. Do you have any idea how stressed she is right now? Then maybe Brad should have stayed home instead of going on vacation. Or maybe you guys should have hired a house sitter like I suggested. You're seriously going to let your sister's house flood because you're still mad about that dinner? I'm not mad about anything, Mom. I'm just not available to help. You guys made it pretty clear I'm not part of the family. So, I don't see why family emergencies are my responsibility. That's not what anyone said. That's exactly what Olivia said, and you and Dad agreed with her. I'm just respecting your wishes. This is ridiculous. You're being a child. I'm being consistent. Look, I've got to get back to my meeting. Good luck with the flooding situation. I hung up before she could respond. My hands were shaking a little bit, not from fear, but from the adrenaline of actually standing up for myself for once. It felt strange, foreign, but also kind of good. The calls kept coming to my work line. I had my assistant screen them and tell anyone from my family that I was unavailable. By the end of the day, she looked at me with concern. Is everything okay? She asked. Your mom called 4 more times. She sounds really upset. Family drama, I said. Nothing serious. If they call again, just tell them I'll call them back when I can. I had no intention of calling them back. That night, I got an email from my dad this time. He'd somehow found my personal email address, probably from some old family group email chain. The subject line was urgent. Call us immediately. The email was a wall of text about how disappointed he was in me, how family was supposed to be there for each other, how I was being selfish and immature, how Olivia was crying nonstop about her ruined house, how I was betraying them in their time of need. Not once in that entire email did he acknowledge what had happened at that dinner. Not once did he apologize for excluding me from the vacation or for letting Olivia tell me I didn't belong. It was all about how I was failing them right now. I marked it as spam and moved on with my evening. The thing about cutting toxic people out of your life is that there's this weird mourning period. I wasn't sad about losing them. I was sad about losing the version of them I'd always hoped they'd become. The fantasy family that would finally appreciate me and treat me like I mattered. But that family never existed. I'd been chasing a fantasy for 28 years. By Tuesday, the calls stopped. I figured they'd handled their flooding situation somehow. Maybe they hired a professional like I'd suggested from the beginning. Maybe Brad's family helped out. Maybe they flew back early. I didn't know and didn't particularly care. Wednesday night, I was at the gym when I saw a missed call from an unknown number. There was a voicemail. It was Brad. "Hey, man. Look, I just wanted to say. I don't know, maybe we messed up. Olivia's been a wreck all week. The house thing was bad. There's like $30,000 in water damage. But that's not even what's bothering her. She feels really guilty about what she said at that dinner. My mom actually called her out on it when she heard what happened. Said she was way out of line." He paused and I could hear voices in the background. "Anyway, I don't know if you'll even listen to this. Your mom said you changed your number and moved, but if you do hear this, I don't know, man. Maybe give her a chance to apologize. She's pregnant and emotional and she said some stuff she didn't mean. We all miss having you around." I listened to the message twice. There was something almost genuine in Brad's voice. Almost. But the key word in his whole message was she didn't mean it. That's the classic non-apology setup. She didn't mean it. She was emotional. She was pregnant. Everyone had an excuse for why Olivia got a pass for her behavior. Nobody ever acknowledged that maybe, just maybe, she did mean it. That those words came from somewhere real, that she'd been thinking it for years and finally said it out loud. And more importantly, nobody addressed the fact that my parents had sat there silently and let it happen. They'd chosen her over me in that moment, just like they'd chosen her over me my entire life. One voicemail from Brad saying she feels guilty wasn't enough to undo 28 years of being second place. I deleted the message. Over the next few weeks, I settled into my new life. Made friends with my neighbors, found a gym I actually liked, started going to trivia nights at a bar near my apartment with some coworkers. I built routines that didn't involve Sunday dinners or last-minute favor calls. It was peaceful. Quiet. My stress levels dropped. I wasn't constantly on edge, waiting for the next demand or criticism. I could just exist without justifying my existence. Trevor came to visit like we'd planned. We spent a weekend exploring the city, catching up on lost time. He'd built a good life for himself out of state, completely separate from our family's drama. He'd figured out years ago what had taken me almost 3 decades to learn: sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk away. "You seem different," Trevor said over lunch. "More relaxed." "Yeah," I said. "Turns out not having people constantly tell you you're not good enough does wonders for your mental health." "You think they'll ever figure it out?" he asked. "That they screwed up?" I shrugged. "Honestly, I don't think they see it that way. In their minds, I'm the one who abandoned them over nothing. I'm the one being dramatic and holding grudges." "That's probably true," Trevor said. "But that's their problem now, not yours." He was right. It was their problem. Now, about 6 weeks after I'd moved, I was leaving my apartment for work when I found an envelope taped to my door. No return address, just my name written in my mom's handwriting. Inside was a card, one of those generic "thinking of you" cards from the grocery store. The message inside was in my mom's handwriting: "We know you're upset with us, and we want to make things right. Olivia is very sorry about what she said. We're all sorry. You're our son and our brother, and we love you. Please call us so we can talk about this. We miss you. Mom, Dad, Olivia." At the bottom, Olivia had added, "I'm sorry, I was wrong. Please come back." I read the card 3 times, looking for anything that acknowledged what had actually happened. Any recognition of the years of unequal treatment. Any admission that maybe the problem wasn't just one dinner, but a lifetime of being treated like I didn't matter. There was nothing. Just generic apologies and "we miss you." They missed having someone around to help them. They missed having a backup plan. They missed having free labor and emotional support when they needed it. They didn't miss me. They missed what I did for them. I threw the card in the recycling bin and went to work. That weekend, I did something I'd been thinking about for a while. I updated my emergency contacts at work and with my bank. Removed my parents and sister. Added Trevor and a couple of close friends instead. Changed my beneficiary information, updated my apartment lease to make sure they weren't listed anywhere. I was erasing them from the practical parts of my life, one document at a time. It felt like closing chapters in a book I'd been forced to read for too long. 3 months after I'd left, Trevor called with interesting news. Apparently, word had gotten back to him through extended family channels that Olivia had had the baby, a healthy girl named Charlotte. My parents were thrilled to be grandparents. Brad's family threw them a huge party. "They're telling everyone you refused to meet your niece because you're holding a grudge," Trevor said. "Making you out to be the bad guy." "Let them," I said. "Anyone who knows me knows that's not the full story, and anyone who doesn't know me doesn't matter." "Fair point," Trevor said. "For what it's worth, some of the family is asking questions. Not everyone's buying their version of events." That was interesting, but it didn't change anything for me. I wasn't doing this for vindication or to prove a point. I was doing it because I deserved better than being someone's afterthought. I sent a baby gift through Amazon, a nice one, neutral and appropriate, with a card that said, "Congratulations on your daughter. Wishing you all the best." No return address, no phone number. Just acknowledgement that a baby existed and deserved a gift, even if I wanted nothing to do with her parents. Because that's the thing, I didn't hate them. I wasn't even angry anymore. I just didn't want them in my life. There's a difference between holding a grudge and choosing not to let people hurt you anymore. 4 months in, I started dating someone from work. Nothing serious yet, but it was nice. She asked about my family, and I gave her the simplified version. "We're not in contact. It's complicated, but necessary." She didn't push for details, which I appreciated. Told me about her own family drama, which was extensive. We bonded over the shared experience of having families that didn't quite work. "You seem really at peace with it," she said one night over dinner. "I am. I realized it took a while to get here, but yeah, I'm good." And I was. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't waiting for the other shoe to drop. Wasn't bracing for the next demand or criticism. Wasn't measuring my worth by whether my family approved of me. I was just living my life, working my job, building relationships with people who actually valued me being a person instead of a tool. 6 months after I'd walked away, I got a Facebook message from Brad. I'd forgotten to block him on that platform, mainly because he'd never really been the problem. He was just married to it. "Hey man, I know you probably won't read this, but I wanted you to know something. We had a family gathering last week, and some stuff came up. My mom asked where you were, and when Olivia explained, my mom basically ripped into her and your parents and said she couldn't believe they'd treated you that way for so long. Called them out on all of it." The message continued, "It was really uncomfortable, but someone needed to say it." Olivia cried. "Your mom got defensive. Your dad just sat there looking shocked. I don't know if it'll change anything, but at least someone finally said what needed to be said. I should have said something sooner. I'm sorry I didn't. You deserved better, man." I read the message, but didn't respond. It was nice that Brad's mom had called them out. Nice that someone had finally said something. But it was 6 months too late and from the wrong person. If my own parents couldn't figure out on their own that they'd treated me poorly, having it pointed out by an in-law wasn't going to create any lasting change. They'd probably feel embarrassed for a week and then go back to their normal patterns. That's how people like that work. They're sorry when they get caught or called out, but not sorry enough to actually change their behavior long term. I left Brad on read and went about my day. Now it's been almost a year. My new life is fully established. I've got a solid friend group. I'm up for another promotion at work. And I'm genuinely happy. Not performatively happy. Not things could be worse, happy. Actually, truly happy. Have you ever been the backup child or the invisible asset in your family? What was the moment you finally realized you needed to draw a line? I really want to hear your stories and thoughts in the comments below.